Hey guys, I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, when it comes to DC movies, I feel they're very inconsistent in trying to build some sort of level of consistency with the feel of their movies in terms of like the writing and the action and everything. But I did enjoy Black Adam when that came out about a few months ago, so I was kind of skeptical about seeing how Shazam! Fury of the Gods would fare. And to be honest, when I watched the movie, I didn't enjoy it too much. I think the movie at best was a very average movie, and I feel like its runtime really lacked any sort of moments that were really considered interesting. So all in all, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is not that good. Now, despite me saying that the movie is average at best and it's not that good, does the plot of this movie stand out? No, it doesn't. The plot of this movie is very much a generic superhero movie. You will literally find it not anywhere near different from any other DC movie or Marvel movie. So the idea of the plot basically sets out the daughters of the Titan Atlas, who basically want to use some of the enchanted spells from the recreating the staff that was broken, and they want to sort of gain like some sort of superpowers from it or whatever, and use it to sort of like do something to Earth or whatever. It's a very sort of boring plot, to be honest with you. I don't think really anything from the story of this movie that really stands out, and even still with the plot, the characters are so uninspiring. I don't think the two daughters of the Titan Atlas are even remotely have any sort of presence that really sort of scares you. They just play out like very flat, boring, not really building any sort of fear in you. And it's very questionable to know what was really the idea of these characters and what they really wanted to do with them. It's just everything just didn't seem right with this movie. Um, even with the main villains, the daughters in this movie not being that interesting, even still, like some of the main characters, like Billy Batson, he kind of plays off this sort of young child, mentally sort of young vibe, trying to be very jokey, not so serious about things. He doesn't really offer very much in this film that I think there was anything good. Like the comedy that this movie tried to play off just really failed to stood out. Like I was in the cinema and virtually any sort of comedy line or any sort of line that they don't try and take seriously, nobody really even laughed. Like there was even a moment in the film where I think there was this sort of bridge collapse scene, and basically all the foster children basically use the word Shazam to turn into sort of some sort of adult superhero to try and save people. It's again not really something that really tries anything new. So they come and save the day, but it's really stupid how they kind of made that happen. So basically the whole story is the bridge is collapsing, people are screaming and shouting, and they even try and play a non-serious vibe. So there was like one scene where someone is in the car, literally listening to I'm like I Need a Hero, and it's really really dumb of how pretty much someone's life could be on the line, and yeah, you're in a car not knowing the scenario you're in, and then all of a sudden you start screaming because you're about to die, but then all of a sudden one of the foster children basically saves you. Or I think it was Billy Batson. I can't remember, but basically he saved the woman in the car singing in the car without knowing anything, and she starts screaming and it's like, "Oh, I need to put you back up again." It's like, no shit. Like, what the hell? So everything that they try and do, this sort of quirky thing, just didn't come across very funny, and I think it's been so overdone at this point where no one even really laughed, and it was just so soulless, really. Now, despite maybe the acting as being soulless and lackluster, and also maybe even some of the plot of this movie not really standing out, or even the comedy of this movie that tries to portray wasn't really landing very well, I think the movie itself does try and create some moments. It's very rare that moments happen in this movie. So the movie itself is about 2 hours, 10 or 20 minutes long. I think it is. I might just check to make sure. Yeah, it's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. So it's a pretty long movie nowadays for superhero films. But basically, very rarely there's much moments that happen in this film. Like very much rarely any action scenes. Even some of the action scenes are not that great. So they would have like some action scenes where they would be at a sort of basically within a open outdoor eating area, and I think the foster children would fight some of the daughters. I think the ending fight was actually really good. I think that one kind of stood out a bit more. There was a lot more going on. There was definitely some visual effects that do change throughout the sequence of that fight. So I think that was one fight that stood out, but not really a whole lot, to be honest with you. It just didn't really it lacked moments, and it really lacked any sort of feel. Like it was very flat, bland. Not There was really not really much in this movie that I think really had anything remotely, a great presence. It was just very flatline, and I think, to be honest with you, I think the feel of superhero movies trying this sort of not serious, jokey vibe, I think really they needs to be something more different to kind of enlighten fans a bit, with some better writing, some better dialogue between characters, because I just don't think really this whole idea of taking things not too seriously is really working, because I really struggle to really have like some to really retain my focus on watching this film. I kind of adjusted my body too much with the runtime, and it just everything felt so much a drag to just keep on going forward, because there was nothing really in the plot that really progressed anything, nor really the movie tried to really create some moments apart from maybe the ending. That's about it. So yeah, very very flat for the vast majority of the time. But yeah, overall, if I had to rate Shazam: Fury of the Gods, I think I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10. Maybe that's probably too generous, maybe, but I don't think this is like a bad, abysmal attempt by DC. I've seen really much worse DC movies before that really don't have any sort of audience or any sort of target that they're trying to achieve. I think with Shazam, it has moments, but they're very much uninspiring to watch. The acting at best is very flat, very wooden. I don't like the quirky comedy that he tried to do with it as well, because nothing really came across as jokey in a way. And I really feel like they really need to add more strong, touching emotions to actually make him more sort of, to really capture the emotion of the audience. Because I think it was just a very a flat line of the same emotions, the same script writing, the same, like it's the same everything. It's just not remotely different in any way. So yeah, that's about it. See you later.